Hey there. How you doing, DJ?
It's a good day. Thanks for having me
Yeah,
today.
no, thanks for rescheduling this. I really appreciate it. I know our volunteers are really excited about it, so thank you for joining us. Um, so I've got them in the waiting room right now. I'll start letting them in here shortly. Typically, I'll just do a couple of quick announcements on our end, and I'll turn it over to you. Like I said, I can make you co-host. I'm not sure if you were planning on sharing your screen or anything, but you'll be able to do that. And if you prefer, I know our volunteers like to ask questions, so if you prefer to have them wait to the end, that's totally fine. Or if not, I can monitor the chat too as well.
Okay.
All right, we'll start letting them in. Afternoon, everybody.
Hello, Dennis.
How you guys doing?
Mhm. We're good, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Get my name up there
Yeah,
and
shh, they can hear.
All right. So I don't have too many announcements or anything other than our luncheon is coming up on October. Hold on, make sure I get the date right. October 9th, from noon to 1. So again, tickets are free for that. Want as many volunteers as we can have there. Obviously, just wouldn't be able to do what we do without you guys. So encourage you guys to come. Feel free to invite your friends and family members. If you're interested in being a table captain, I'd recommend reaching out to Vanessa or Susie, our development director, and she can kind of get you connected with the information to do that. So I will go ahead and turn it over to our guest this afternoon, DJ Vincent from Church at the Park. Thank you very much for joining us, DJ. I really appreciate it, and I'm really excited for this presentation.
Thank you so much. And I see a lot of great folks on here that I know from, their longtime service to our community. And Church at the Park is honored to be, in the midst of amazing organizations in Salem, like CASA, just raising the level of care for vulnerable folks in our community. And appreciate those who volunteer. So I will go through kind of where Church of the Park is right now in our different programs. And if you think of questions that you don't want to forget, you could put them in the chat, but I'll have plenty of space for people to lean into specific questions about any of our programs or approach in the community. We do have a mission of creating a banquet of love and acceptance for those who need it most. And our focus has been on those who find themselves unhoused on sidewalks and in parks. And I've been personally doing that work for the last 18 years. Many of those years were in outreach, connecting people to other services. Now we get to focus our attention on a few areas. um, the big thing we like to emphasize is when people have found themselves unsheltered, we can dig down into the root cause that it is a system of broken relationships, things done to them, by them, but there's a trauma of broken relationships. So the only way to take steps on the healing journey is with healthy relationships. We hope those are healthy, trusting relationships with us, our staff, and our volunteers, but also other community partners, other neighbors. So you see our 5 values, and they're all, very knit in with relationship. To begin by seeing every person with compassion and understanding they have a story, to make one of our primary goals in connecting with every person to build that healthy relationship. That involves our third value of practicing empathetic listening. Many times when we see a person, whether they're an adult male or a mom or a young uh, young person experiencing homelessness, we're gonna tell ourselves a story about that, but we really need to go to the source and listen to their story and try to find the ways that we can help build their unique capacity. We're looking to, as an organization, pursue peacemaking with this community and our neighbors. We have a desire to see every person who's unsheltered restored to our community, and that involves our final value of cultivating belonging for all people and just seeing every person as a valued member of our community. So we do that through these four functioning priorities. So we start with outreach, collaborative navigation of everyone. We may not get to shelter someone. They may get sheltered at Union Gospel Mission or with Arches or Safe Sleep. And there's a lot of great partners in the community, and we want to be open to connecting them with anyone. Then our emergency shelters, I'll walk through kind of all five of those locations and how we operate and what's been happening there. We're very excited about being focused on workforce development. Over half of our staff have been homeless in the past, and we are looking to kind of create more and more opportunities for folks who have had trouble with incarceration, need second chance employment. It is a big focus of ours to have that redeeming nature of work knit in with what we're doing. And then we've had the privilege for the last year of doing some supportive housing. So we place a lot of people in apartments and housing, and we follow them for anywhere from 3 to 6 months, depending on how they're doing. But right now, we do get to support one supportive housing unit for women exiting homelessness, and hope to do some more with seniors. So those priorities get lived out with real people. And here's the data from last year. We were able to see 264 folks get keys to apartments. And, that's the big win in what we're doing. But we also saw 522 people move to a more positive destination. So maybe in that case, it was back with family. We do some family restoration work. Maybe it was on to a recovery program or transitional housing. So that's the difference in those two numbers. We were able to serve 761 people last year, and we're on track to serve more people than that this year. And then, like I mentioned, uh, our work starts with outreach. So you can see just Church at the Park. That's not a community number. Just Church at the Park, we worked with 1,911 people where we knew their story, we knew their name, their assets, their challenges, and we were working to get them towards a positive destination. So what uh, to go a little deeper on our outreach work, we have teams that reach out to just adults, young adults, and then we have a Polk County outreach team because we have shelters now in Dallas and Monmouth, and there's some wonderful coordination work to do just in rural Polk County. We love the safe parking program because it's really that entry that people have into being unsheltered is when they lose their place. Oftentimes they still have a vehicle, still have a job. We'd like that not to spiral down to where they lose their vehicle and find themselves in a park or on a sidewalk. And so the safe parking program is that in between where we have 10 partner churches right now who offer up their parking lots overnight. And we offer case management, showers, and other supports during the day. And we can talk more about that program if you end up having interest in it. And then our safety team, we continue to get more and more of these folks trained with nonviolent communication and community health worker training. And so currently we serve the DHS child welfare offices as well as a few other partners. And we're looking to expand this team more and more over time, and just for folks to have that positive interaction. There's one of our safe parkers. So I'll move to our emergency shelter locations, which there are 5 of right now. And I'll go into a little more depth. So here's the Village of Hope on Center Street. This is probably the most visible to the most people kind of driving by 12th Street or Center Street down by Safeway. There's currently 40 shelters there, and it can serve 80 folks. Right now, this picture is a little bit old. We've put in a new common receiving area and cafeteria area because we have already built and are about to put on the ground 16 more shelters there, and we'll be able to serve 112 people here in the next month or two. So here's a picture of last year. We were able to serve 209 folks there in a year with 80 beds. Again, people aren't staying with us just night by night. We recertify people month by month. So every person who stays with us gets a case manager, a peer support specialist connected with them. And low barrier for us doesn't mean low expectations. It means we want to receive anyone who needs help, but then we want to help give them the pathway to rebuild their lives, and with income, with housing, and with their healthcare. And so that site saw 61 of those folks move on to positive destinations, and the average length of stay with us, you can see, was just over 6 months. Well, 7 months, 193 3 days. So one of the things that we've seen at this site that has been rather shocking, we're seeing it across the nation, and in the last 6 months, I've partnered with presentations called No Place to Grow Old, 9 different ones, because we're seeing a rapid rise in the age of those who are unsheltered. And this is countrywide, statewide, and it's happening right here in our community. So the data from the last 4 years, we served 484 folks who were 55 years in age and older. But just last year, 2024, we served 319 of those. So that's a huge increase over the previous 3 years. And of the 80 beds we have over there at the Village of Hope, 55 of them are taken up by people who are older. And then the wait list numbers are kind of what keeps me motivated to keep expanding services and really keep sheltering going in Salem, because we have 370 people on the wait list who are 55 years and older. So those are people not being sheltered right now. They may be getting help from a family member. They may be living in their car, or they may be on the sidewalk or in a park tonight. So our family site is located off Portland Road, co-located at the Catholic Community Services site. We get the most volunteers in our organization at this site, working with families, doing kid activities. This picture is because the iBuild for Oregon and the Salem Croc Center program, they've been building us shelters, high school students, and it's an amazing partnership. They're building some shelters for us right now, and it's been a cool way to connect with the community. So at that family shelter, there's actually 132 beds. You can see last year we served 336 folks there. More children than adults get served at that location all of the last few years. We see a lot of positive exits there, working with families, and the average length of stay is lower there, where it's under the 6 months that we're able to help people find places that are not shelter. Look at that, same slide, just a different picture. So then we have our young adult shelter. So it's just for 18 to 24-year-olds. So these are many folks aging out of foster care. We have a lot of relationship with Marion County parole and probation for these 18 to 24-year-olds. Last year, the 38 beds there served 94 individuals. We saw over half of them move to positive destinations. The length of stay is a little bit shorter, where we're helping them either reconnect with family, find a job or educational connections that move them from our site. And as I mentioned, we're excited that we're able to open 2 different shelters in Polk County. So we have the Dallas House for families, where we've been serving families for just an average of 2 months there. It's almost like a bridge housing spot, and it's been a great asset to work with FCO, the Family and Children Outreach in Polk County. And now we have our Monmouth shelter for adults with a capacity to serve 20 adults. At this shelter, we were able to remodel an old schoolhouse. And so the rooms are old classrooms, and so they're pretty spacious. And we have a great common area for folks. Again, we don't have a year's worth of data yet, but the numbers are trending to older adults and more females at that location. So then workforce development, we do a ton of staff training. Every week we offer training for our current staff, recognizing that when you choose to intentionally hire people with lived experience, you need to do a lot of capacity building around community health work. We're about to do our second cohort of community health worker training. So we have the certification through Oregon Housing Authority to offer the 90 hours of community health worker training, and our staff are proud to be certified to do that. We hope to open our training kitchen for 18 to 24-year-olds by the start of this next year. And then some of you may have seen, I've been promoting a downtown cleaning team to the city of Salem, and we're just promoting what we think would be a great workforce development opportunity. We'll see if it materializes. Here are just some renderings of the equipment we're looking at for that training kitchen. The permits are pulled, and the construction is just underway, again at the Catholic Community Services location as a part of the Seymour Center building. Then the last section here is the supported housing. So right now we have the Coral House for women. We're in partnership to develop 36 cottages. We provide a monthly meal at Sequoia Crossing, where we have a lot of previous shelter residents. And then we're working on other aftercare partnerships with the Salem Housing Authority. So there's a picture of the Coral House over off Lancaster. We are going to be putting in with community partners and the state opportunities for more and more creative cottage clusters for seniors. We love the work that United Way is doing in this area. We have signed on to some partnerships with them. So our project priorities for this year are to ask more and more churches to open up safe parking places. We did have our funding reduced by the city of Salem for safe parking. So at our annual fundraising event in October, a little later than yours, on October 18th, we're going to be pushing the validity and the value of the safe parking program, hoping to have the community support that more. We will be again expanding the capacity at the Center Street site. We have already opened the Monmouth one, so I got to update my presentation. And then training kitchen coming soon, and more new cottages coming soon. Our invitations are that, people who appreciate our work, if you could stay informed about it through our newsletter, anyone who wants to donate their gently used clothing, we each night we have 312 people in shelter beds, and we have a clothing program and kind of a way that people shop each week at each of our sites, and that's all run off of donations. You're already volunteers for a great organization, so I'm not trying to, recruit volunteers, but you could host a presentation like this with any other groups you're connected with, whether faith-based groups or community-based groups. So I hope that that was helpful and am wide open to follow-up questions.
Hey, DJ, it's Craig. Good to see you again. Um, just wondering, like since we're CASA working with child welfare, how does, you have families that may or may not be involved. How does that partnership work?
Yeah, that was a big priority when we opened the family site to have a great relationship with DHS. And so we have one of their family coaches officing on site at the family site once a week. And that way, if there are currently DHS involved folks, they're just have an easy check-in. They also have resources for anyone, even if they're not yet DHS involved. And so it's been a great asset to be partnering with them heavily.
I have a question. I'm sure that y'all do a lot with children and their education. What do you do with adults who maybe still need their GEDs or whatever?
Fantastic question. So we've had a strong partnership with Shemeketa, where they've been sending a person to talk about their different programs once a week to our young adult site. But your question is a great reminder that, all adults who are in the a tough spot, like, being unsheltered. Education is a powerful pathway forward. For the Village of Hope site, we have the partnership with Center 50 Plus, and they are just this great resource where they're staying more up to date on it than any one of our case managers alone could. So we've been partnering with them.
I would encourage you to talk with Mid Valley Literacy Center. Um, they work with adults. I just happen to tutor with them. Um, but it's small groups. They could work on site. Sometimes when folks have to go to Shemeketa, it's a little overwhelming. This might be a better way for folks who, I mean, it takes a lot of courage just to admit that you need that help. And so if this is a barrier that we could help remove, that would be really cool.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much.
I think Sue, do you have a question?
Yes, DJ, let's see. Um, anyway, so the question is, do you have much pushback from people, that are, I'm talking about the public, saying, we don't want this, we don't like this, those people deserve whatever. And how do you deal with that?
So the answer is yes. So we make, multiple social media posts a week, and there are always comments that are contrary to our work that, the people we serve don't deserve the resources that we're giving them. And so we try to, message those folks on the side that we'd be happy to engage in a dialogue over the phone, or a direct message dialogue versus a Facebook interaction with 30 comments. And then we intentionally go to the neighborhood association meetings wherever our shelters are located. And sometimes, people are frustrated about homelessness and sanitation in general. So we try to, work with uh, information on giving people a hand up rather than just handouts and just kind of throwing stuff out there in the community, hoping something good will happen. Instead, we need to walk alongside people in an intentional and relational way. So we try to demystify our methodology of actually walking alongside people rather than just enabling folks. And then whenever we're going to do a new shelter in a space, there's a lot of fear and resistance of the unknown. And so we end up needing to do a lot of kind of chats with impacted neighbors and business owners to try to make our case that we're actually going to lower crime or lower sanitation challenges. I was encouraged that the crime stats around a place like Center Street, they're actually trending down compared to the years before we were there. And so we want to help people move forward, not just enable bad behavior.
That's great. Thank you.
I have a question, DJ, about how you identify the people that you're going to help. Do you have people who come to you? Are you going out to areas where people are unhoused and trying to speak with them? How do you do this discernment process about is able to, come into your program?
I will humbly say this is a very hard part of our work, but one that we kind of get to engage on a daily and weekly basis. So, three ways that people get connected with us. One is we send out outreach teams to make contact and promote people to choose shelter rather than being outside. Then on our website, someone can just reach out via the phone or filling out a form themselves. And then we love partner referrals and we mark that in the person's case so that we know, oh, we're working with the McKinney-Vento program at the school, and there's a person at the school who's working with this family, and we're in partnership on getting them to the shelter. And then we also know we're in partnership with them getting them to school and keeping them connected with school. When it comes to who gets to be at the shelter, because we do have a wait list, we work off of what we call a vulnerability scale in terms of priority. So if someone has a kiddo, they're at the top of our list. And if they have multiple kiddos, they're at the top of the top. If they're a female experiencing homelessness, they're honestly more vulnerable. If they're an older person over 55 years of age, they're more vulnerable. That's why you see us serving more older folks, because we know, it's just going to be harder on their bodies to be outside without services, the right level of temperature control in where they're staying. And finally, if someone has a health condition, that is also factored in, and that's daily how we're approaching our wait list.
Thank you.
I have a question. You mentioned earlier that you have low barriers for helping people, but expectations once they're in your program, like for, let's say, a male adult, what would those expectations be?
I love it. So it's actually, 3 pages long, and it's a lot about respect of others and space. And so even though someone could be addicted to drugs or alcohol, they can't have drugs or alcohol physically on our property. And then they need to engage with our staff and the others at the shelter without violence of their words or their actions. And then the third big thing is they need to engage in positive opportunities. So they can't just not meet with their case manager, because then we don't know that we're actually helping that person with their health, income, or housing. And so they have to engage or they're not going to be recertified for the next month. And honestly, with such a long wait list, we need to be working with the folks who have a willingness to make steps forward.
Right. Thank you. Makes sense.
DJ, another question. I wonder about the number of people that say you're interested in helping, and the number of people that maybe get a start on the help but then drop out. And I only ask that because I'm aware of that. That's relatively common in a number of different organizations like this.
Yeah, and we feel like that's a mutual responsibility. It is on us to create a safe and supportive environment where people who stay with us, first of all, we want them to feel safety, physical, emotional, psychological safety. Then we want them to have supportive opportunities, us and other agencies offering steps forward. So we think there's a lot of responsibility, and there's a page full of like the responsibility of Church of the Park to the guest. And then they have a responsibility to engage, to show up and try to kind of pay attention to the plan that we're building. And when we make plans for appointments, actually, following through, we have peer support specialists who will go with people to try to break down the barriers and how intimidating some of these meetings can be. And so um, our our goal is to keep our success rate well over 50%. So the people we're working with, we have more succeeding than are kind of leaving in what we would call as like not failure, not the way we wanted to end the relationship.
That's great. Over 50%. That's good. That's great. Thank
DJ, I got a question. It's just about are most of the folks that you're seeing like connected to the community of Salem or surrounding? That is that they're not passing through from some other state or came to this location because they heard about your program, that sort of thing.
Good. This is a huge area of concern for lots of communities on the West Coast. So I would say, every point in time analysis, all the research, the lowest percentage is that 8 out of 10 folks are from this area, this community. They grew up here, went to school here, they have family here, they had a job here. That's 8 out of 10, and that plays out to our own experiences. And then with our two shelters in Polk County, we had to agree with the community that we would be a 10 out of 10. That literally we would certify that someone had a connection, family, school, or a previous home or job in that area. So, it's my personal belief that every person deserves to be received and cared for, regardless of where they were born or grew up. But I do understand that communities want to invest their resources and take care of the folks that grew up there and they feel beholden to. They went through their school systems and they got laid off from their community jobs. So I would say the numbers are high, that it's 80% or more, and the concern is understandable.
And sorry if I missed this earlier, but how did you say that folks are get into your program. I'm thinking of a parent in the case that I have would probably could very well be a very good fit for this. I'm not sure how that would happen though.
Yeah, so literally, the advocate or the individual can fill out our form by either calling and working through it with someone or by filling it out online. So on our website is kind of a participant tab, and it's like, oh, is this a mom with children, or is this a single adult? Is
Mhm.
this someone that's 18 to 24? Do I live in Polk County? And you fill out that form, and then you're in the system to be prioritized to get a call. And what helps about having both an advocate's number and the individual is people lose their phone. People, have to get a different phone. And we hit dead ends with people who had needs, but we have no way of getting a hold of them. They're up on the list, but now we don't have a number. If we have an advocate's number too, sometimes the advocate knows where they are and can put us in touch with them.
And I'm guessing a caseworker could probably do that as well.
Yeah, we do not discriminate whether this is a community-based advocate or a professional
Okay.
caseworker or a community health worker or the sheriff's department.
Okay.
I know you guys obviously do a lot of work trying to connect the adults there with necessary services or support or resources. Um, but could you talk a little bit more about? I mean, I know you have some family sites there. Do you have similar programs for young adults or youth who are staying there?
Yeah, the young adults, when we opened that program, we felt beholden to find every agency in, and again, we probably didn't succeed in finding every agency to try to make them aware or get them on the list or make it available that they could come out once a week or once a month. But um, our whether it's our regular caseworker staff or others in our organization, we're trying to keep a really active list. Or these are the other community partners, and we have like we're in the posture of yes with like family building blocks is again on our site at the family site, and any group that could be a resource, we'll roll out the red carpet, we'll make space, we'll give them an office space or a community space. If they'll use it weekly, we'll offer it weekly.
Any other questions?
I don't know if, I know that the young adult thing goes from 18. What, you don't work with unhoused youth under the age of 18, but there's other programs available for that, correct?
Yep, we partner with the other programs on those unaccompanied minors. We're not currently the right group for them.
You don't mind me asking, but how many staff members do you have?
Yeah, we just had an unfortunate, news release with OPB that with reductions from the our state funding, we needed to cut about 20% of our staff, and we basically did that top to bottom so that we could, lessen the impact on guests as much as possible and just be as lean as possible. And again, it makes an impact on the amount of people we have available to do outreach and serve folks, but we're at 121 staff today.
Where does all your funding come from?
Yeah, our funding journey has been for many, many years, we were just funded from private individuals and partner churches. And then when we hit the pandemic, the city had COVID relief dollars, and we partnered with the city to open our first micro shelters in Salem. So they helped us open all three of those. And then their attempt at ongoing operational funding took the form of a payroll tax that was defeated by ballot. And so they essentially didn't have any ongoing support for our work. And through the emergency order, through the governor and the work of the Oregon Housing and Community Services, they picked up the operations of those shelters. And then they asked us to open the two new ones in Polk County. And so all 5 of the shelters are currently funded under the new state sustainable shelter bill. And that is a bill that went through, and it sets the parameters and the guidelines for a statewide shelter effort for the, it has to be then looked at and renewed for funding every 2 years, but it is now a potentially sustainable source of funding for specifically our shelter operations. Then when you look at the workforce development and the supported housing, those are, other funding streams around workforce development. And then on the supported housing side, it's with HUD.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Let me check the chat here. Don't see anything in the chat. If you guys could real quick just drop your names in the chat so I can get that sent off to advocate coordinators. I think we can go ahead and wrap up. So thank you very much, DJ. I really appreciate it and all the work that your organization does. It's really, really impactful to our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
really good.
Thanks, DJ. Good to see you.
And then just real quickly, I am planning on scheduling another book club, hopefully before the end of the year. So I'm thinking October or November potentially. So if you have any books that you think would be a good fit for that, please send them my way. And we are also working to schedule our final volunteer appreciation event of the year. I think again we'll do it around the same time as last year. So probably November-ish before Thanksgiving. So we can see as many of you guys there as we can. So thank you guys very much. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to be here this afternoon. And I will see you all later.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Hold on.